Is the air raid offense actually punishing USC's defense? The Lakers are not only set up for the next season, but they've set themselves up for next season's trade deadline as well. And Russell Westbrook takes the biggest pay cut in NBA history. Hi, I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It's July 3rd, 2023. We have added multiple subscribers to the Angeleno Familia. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. We also have an El Trafico kit giveaway in celebration of tomorrow's game over in Pasadena. If you want a chance at either the LA Galaxy's LA kit or an LAFC kit, size men's extra large, subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment as which team you like. We will be drawing winners on July 5th. And by the way, my wife and I are going to the match tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing you guys there. If you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. Let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comments. Got a lot to get to today. So before we go through the news and notes, a quick look at the scoreboard. Royals 9, Dodgers 1. I have to be honest. What the hell was that? Miguel Vargas drives in the only Dodgers run. Back-to-back stinkers from supposedly strong Dodgers starters against a weak Kansas City team. Tony Gonsolin only pitched 3 2/3 innings, for Pete's sake. And meanwhile, Atlanta 112, the Sparks 84. Now, I do not support female-on-female violence, but that was an ass-kicking. The Sparks went 0-3 on a road trip. They're 7-10 on the year. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are back in town. They'll be playing Pittsburgh at 7. Clayton Kershaw, maybe, we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes, versus Mitch Keller, 9-3 with a 3.34 ERA. But I wanted to start with USC football. The Athletic asked what I thought was an intelligent question on something that I think impacts the program long term. What is it like to run a defense for a college program that also runs the air raid offense? And it's a question I've heard asked before, not necessarily about the air raid. Back in the day, way before he started social justice agitating, Colin Kaepernick had an incredible season in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners that year, and pretty much throughout Kaepernick's run, ran a read option offense. They put up a ton of points when Kaepernick originally replaced game manager Alex Smith. Do you remember that time? I realize everybody knows Colin Kaepernick now for the Netflix specials and all the other stuff, but do you remember that one season? Yeah. See, a friend of mine who actually played in the NFL, and he was a wide receiver, I might add, so he has nothing. He wants points on the board. He wants big plays. But he said that the problem with that is that if you put up so many points, if you run offenses so fast, in the case of the read option Kaepernick year, he predicted it would kill the 49ers because eventually your own defense gets exhausted. Here's why. You put up a ton of points, which forces the other team to speed up its own offense, to go no huddle, to take very few seconds off the clock between plays. And oh, by the way, you're passing more. So the next thing you know, your defense is running wind sprints up and down the field all day long. Every game becomes a shootout. And that's why San Francisco lost in the Super Bowl, because basically the Ravens punched Kaepernick in the mouth. The Niners defense was gassed. And you never heard about Kaepernick again until he started clowning the national anthem. Simple as that. So look now to college football and the air raid. The stats are even more stomach churning if you like USC. 6 schools who ran the air raid offense and scored a ton of points. They also gave up a ton of points right back. 6 teams that ran the air raid also ranked 102nd or worse in terms of yards allowed per play. In other words, they were giving up big plays as much as they were gaining them. USC's defense was ranked 124th in the nation in terms of yards per play allowed. So I read the story, and to be honest with you, It read like a sympathy for the devil piece on defensive coordinator Alex Grinch. Remember, USC's defense fell apart against Utah, which cost them a shot at the college football playoffs. And then, of course, they fell apart again against Tulane, which cost them the Cotton Bowl. I'm not going to buy the premise. Not for USC or for Alex Grinch. Here's why. One, the Trojans also ran an air raid offense before they hired Lincoln Riley and Alex Grinch. Remember, Graham Harrell ran the offense for the last couple of years under the Clay Helton debacle. Harrell is said to have run the ball in the purest form of the air raid. The purest form, which means you're not running the football. Lincoln Riley figured out how to run the football with counterplays. You can see it. It's obvious when USC has their most effective running offense in the air raid. They call the play GT counter. USC runs the ball very, very well. It's why everybody fell in love with Travis Dye last year. And when you run the football, it runs the clock, which gives your defense a chance to rest. The second reason I don't buy this story, at least in terms of Alex Grinch, is he coached at USC. And before that, Oklahoma. With those two programs, you have recruiting power for defensive players that you are not going to have with North Texas running the air raid. Now, Grinch is right about one thing, though. When he was asked about coaching in a program that had an air raid offense, he replied, quote, "I think what's really critical for defensive coaches attached to high-scoring offenses is to make sure you don't use it as an excuse. That's the biggest slippery slope in my opinion. You just can't play the victim." But I'm here to tell you, that's always been the thing about Alex Grinch. He says the right thing. He often says the right thing. He said the right things in Oklahoma. He's saying the right things here. But talk is cheap. And I've said this repeatedly since the bowl games. Whether it is USC or whether it is UCLA, the first school to sanity wins. The first school to play defense wins. We are getting more grades and reviews of NBA free agency, and I try to bring multiple ones to you because I want you to get a perspective, not just my own opinion. Mine came yesterday. CBS Sports gave the Lakers a B+, and I think that's fair. Getting Austin Reeves back for about $50 million when there was a possibility it was going to be over 100, oh, that's a victory. Consider the fact that GM Rob Pelinka used to be a player agent. I would argue that, plus the D'Angelo Russell contract, that those deals favor Pelinka's client, which is the Lakers, not the players. But I have to repeat something from yesterday. There are question marks, particularly at center. Jackson Hayes is a center, but he's not the center. So did they really catch up with the Nuggets? Are you sure? But CBS painted a bigger picture as to how this offseason benefits the Lakers during the season. There are levels on the new collective bargaining agreement with the players union called aprons. If you are above the highest apron, you cannot pursue players who got bought out of their contracts. Teams that are above the highest apron, the Clippers, Phoenix, the Warriors, and Denver. So in other words, if a damn good player all of a sudden becomes available through a buyout, the Lakers have the shot to get him. The Clippers don't. The Nuggets, the Suns, the Warriors don't. In other words, when this happens, the Lakers are the most desirable team to play for because you can get the bag and play for a title. Also, for trades, the Lakers have structured their contracts differently now. Last year, a lot of their money was just tied up in one man, Russell Westbrook. Now, the Lakers are more fluid. They have 4 good players who make, say, about $10 million. Fast forward to the trading deadline, and Pelinka is considering adding that so-called third star. Because he's looking ahead, he sees a playoff rematch with Denver, and he's sitting there going, I need one more guy, right? You could combine the D'Angelo Russell contract of about $18 million plus one of those 4 players with 10. Now you've got a $28 million package to offer another team for that third player. By the way, LA Times resident emo slug Bill Plaschke claims that the Lakers, quote, won the offseason. No, Bill, they didn't, and no thank you. Stop it. Besides, teams that win the offseason very rarely win the title. Can we recall that? Look at what the Chargers did prior to last NFL season. They won the offseason. They got bounced in the wild card. Look at the Padres winning the offseason this winter. Where are they now? So thanks for nothing, Bill. Just do us all a favor. Sit in the corner. Listen to The Cure. Listen to Morrissey before you do what you're good at. Writing another weepy-ass column that you don't really mean. Stop telling us the Lakers won the offseason. By the way, the Summer League opens for the NBA. The Lakers are playing tonight with a game against Miami's draft picks and scrubs. It's in Sacramento. Let's turn the page to the Clippers, though. The Clippers also got a grade. It's called incomplete. That's a cop-out grade. I lose respect when writers do that. The Clippers, in my opinion, they are weaker right now because they let Eric Gordon go and they haven't signed Mason Plumlee. They will need a backup center. But this team may be weaker, but they are still all about whether or not Kawhi Leonard or Paul George can play. Those two guys can play. The Clippers are going to be just fine. So give them a grade and move on. The Athletic detailed a path, although it's not one anybody is predicting, that would include the Clippers in a trade that brings James Harden to LA. It would send Damian Lillard from Portland to Philadelphia. Understand if you read it, because there's going to be a lot of bloggers saying, oh, this is what we predict. It is not a prediction. The writer is simply trying to envision what Portland could get for Damian Lillard, who asked out of Oregon. But the following Clippers opinion I should have had. Somebody else caught it first. I should have been more clear. Russell Westbrook just took the biggest pay cut in NBA history so that he could stay with the Clippers. From $47 million down to $4. $43 million pay cut. $43 million. Good Lord. Look, don't get me wrong. The guy earned more than $300 million in his career so far. So he's not going on food stamps anytime soon, right? But $43 million? 43. That man has made enough in his career to pay child support on Antonio Cromartie's kids, Sean Kemp's kids, Phillip Rivers' kids, and he could still live a damn good life. But 43 million? 43 million. Russell Westbrook could call up Joe Biden and say, if you drop Kamala Harris and put me as vice president, I'll pay off everybody's student loans. But 43 million. 43 million. Good Lord. Clayton Kershaw and his inflamed shoulder were named to their 10th All-Star game. The Dodgers, by the way, are sending 5 to the so-called Midsummer Classic, which used to be a classic until they ended a game in a tie about a decade ago, but I digress. The Dodgers have sent 5 players to the All-Star game for 4 consecutive years. This year, it's Kershaw, Will Smith, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and J.D. Martinez. But speaking of Kershaw, at the time of this recording, we still do not know if Kershaw is going on the injured list. Dave Roberts said that they would have to sell Kershaw on an IL stint. If they do not start Kershaw tonight, expect Michael Grove on the bump. Did you notice who was not on the pitch for LAFC when they played in Dallas on Saturday? Midfielder Jose Cifuentes, who's been the subject of transfer rumors for about a year. And of course, the international summer transfer window is wide open, so this led to speculation that a deal is imminent. I don't buy it yet. I just don't. Have you ever been to North Texas in the summer? You want him to play 90 minutes in that humidity, take 2 days off, and then play another 90 minutes against the Galaxy? Are you kidding me? Goodbye hamstrings. That would be insane. So I'm sorry, but it does take note. How bad is LAFC potentially looking to fall if they deal Cifuentes and don't replace him? LAFC was shut out for the 5th time in about a month. 5 times. And that offense runs through Cifuentes. Now, you guys all know I'm a Galaxy fan, but I want to at least be fair to LAFC, right? Do you guys remember Maxime Crepeau, the goalie? The poor guy's leg basically looked like a beer bottle on the side of the road after he collided with Corey Book in MLS Cup final last year. And credit due, that was macho. Very macho of Crepeau. It was a play Crepeau had to make, or else there was a really damn good chance that Philadelphia would have won the cup. Crepeau saved their season, and it cost him, I'm not saying they amputated it, but it almost cost him a leg. The dude missed out on going to the World Cup for Canada. LA Times is taking note, though. Crepeau is practicing again. And according to assistant coach Mark Dos Santos, quote, "It's really a week-to-week thing. Max is going to come back at the right moment, at the right time," unquote. The LA Kings are currently over the salary cap, which actually is okay during the offseason. It is legal. But this is going to mean some fantastic battles when training camp kicks in. Because it's not just going to be whether or not you're talented enough. It's going to be talent plus whether or not your contract fits under the cap. For example, there are going to be 8 defensemen who have NHL experience who are just going to be battling for the final 2 spots on the roster alone. That is going to be a hell of a battle. What about Alex Turcotte or Samuel Fagemo? If you're a 3rd or 4th liner in LA, you better be on the lookout. You have people coming for your job. UCLA's basketball team has begun to restock for 2024. They have added their first recruit for that class in shooting guard Eric Freeney from Corona Centennial. Freeney said he wanted to play for UCLA because it's, quote, "a program that has straight dogs. Dudes who play with chips on their shoulders, shoot the ball, and play defense. I'm not into the flashy stuff. I just play fundamental basketball and make winning plays." Now, I'm a Trojans fan, but I gotta tell you, I like that guy. I like him a lot. CBS Sports has ranked all of the NFL head coaches. They say Brandon Staley is the 23rd best coach in the NFL. Makes sense. 2 winning seasons, but his teams tend to collapse despite all that all-star talent. Can't really argue with that. Sean McVay, meanwhile, for the Rams, was ranked the 4th best coach. There's going to be an anticipated drop next year because the Rams simply don't have the talent they used to. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about running a defense with an air raid offense. Tell me if you believe that the Lakers are set up not just for the first part of the season, but for the next few years as well. And if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corta El Queso production. Take care.